here I am. The world's gone crazy and I haven't got my Uzi. Eh? What did you say? Oh, I lent it to Taran, the redhead kid down the street. And before you say anything, yeah, I know it was a stupid thing to do. And of course, if I'd known then what I know now, I wouldn't have done it. But I didn't know. No one knew. How could they? And it's all happened so quickly. Well, hasn't it? A week? No, less. It was 5 days ago. Yeah. Just 5 days when I saw Taran outside the supermarket. That's when he told me a gator had gone sweet on him. He pointed across the car park and there it was. A 9-footer blowing kisses. I asked, when did it start? He said a fortnight ago, follows me everywhere. I said, you've tried yelling, I do not love you, you mean nothing to me. He said, of course I have. It's had no effect whatsoever. I've even tried banging saucepans round its head. I said, oh, that's just an old wives' tale. And he said, well, Mum said it worked for her and she had 3 gators go sweet on her when she was my age. Saucepans scared all of them away. I said, gators have certainly got a thing for your family, haven't they? He said, Mum reckons it's our red hair. Reminds them of blood. I said, Taran, would you like to borrow my Uzi? And he said, oh, yeah, but well, Mum says Mrs. DaCosta has an Uzi and Mrs. I said, mine's got more oomph. It used to be my mum's. You can't get Uzis like that anymore. Come on, help me home with the shopping and I'll give it to you. What else was I supposed to do? You look desperate. Besides, he's pleasant company. You should have seen the look on his face when I put the Uzi in his hands. I said, don't forget, Taran, you must only kill the gator as a last resort. And he said, I know. And I said, shoot at the ground around its feet first. This will cause the gator to run off. If it doesn't come back within 24 hours, it's gone for good. If it does happen to come back, blow its brains out! No, Taran, no. You have to shoot round its feet for a second time. Only if it comes back again, then, and only then, is it appropriate to kill. He said, people didn't give gators so many chances in the old days, did they? I said, that's true. But times change. We're a more humane society now. I've told you about the gator that went sweet on me, haven't I? Oh, I must have done. Well, shall I tell you? Okay. Happened a few years ago, and the gator caught sight of me as I was coming out the cinema. I didn't pay much notice at first. No gator had ever gone sweet on me before. And besides, my mind was still full of the film I'd just seen. I forget what it was now. Some romance. And I was halfway down the high street before I realised the gator's following me. I walked a bit slower so it could keep up. Though really there's no need because, as I'm sure you know, a gator can gallop faster than a horse if it wants to. But the gator stuck with me all the way home, plonked itself in my garden and serenaded me all night. And the next night. And the next. On and bloody on. I didn't sleep for weeks. Nor did my poor mum. She said, if you don't yell at that gator in a more convincing fashion, I'll shoot it between the eyes. Bet she would have done too. She had 7 gators go sweet on her when she was younger. She shot all of them. A local newspaper did an article about her. The gator gunning gal. Eh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did use the Uzi in the end. But I didn't have to kill the gator. Just ran off and never came back. I have to admit though, for a while, forget it. Well, I was going to say, for a while I sort of pined for the gator. And before you say anything, I know it's bloody stupid, but well, there's something sort of thrilling about it, you know? Having another living creature, even a gator, want you and need you so totally. For the rest of that day, after I'd loaned the Uzi to Taran, I listened out for gunfire. It wasn't until I was washing up the dinner things that bang, bang, bang! But I rushed outside, hoping to catch a glimpse of a gator sprinting towards the swamp. But no gator. I assumed, as anyone would, that it must have taken a more secluded route. Some gators prefer the shadows when they're heartbroken. Mr. Persburn came out of his house opposite, holding a watering can. He's got one of those gardens that you see in old movies, full of flowers and shrubs. He's had to work hard at it though. It's almost impossible to grow anything pretty in the soil around here. And he called out, "Someone's scaring a gator." I strolled over, told him about Taran. Mr. Persburn said, "I might need to use your Uzi pretty soon. Look." And he pointed at a 5-footer tucked amongst the giant marigolds. I said, "I didn't know you had a gator sweet on you, Mr. Persburn." And he said, "Oh, doesn't draw attention to itself, just sighs and reaches out whenever I walk by. But if it gets any bigger, which of course it will, it's going to trample everything in the garden, including my dahlias, which, if you remember correctly, were my late wife's favourite." I said, "I do remember, Mr. Persburn, and as soon as Taran is finished with the Uzi, it's all yours." I was halfway back to my house when I heard Mr. Persburn gasp. Turned to see him staring at me, his mouth wide open. "Something wrong, Mr. Persburn?" He started to shake. No, not shake. Jolt. Electric shock style, you know. I said, "Do you need any help, mister?" And that's when he fell, straight down like he'd gone down a hole. I ran over. The marigolds were swirling like they'd been hit by a tornado. Mr. Persburn was moaning, crying out, but I couldn't see him, so I pushed the gate open and stepped into the garden, and Mr. Persburn is rolling over and over in the marigolds. And the watering can must have been filled with some sort of red liquid, perhaps some kind of fertiliser, I don't know, because it's spilled everywhere. The gator is holding Mr. Persburn. No, it's not holding. It's clawing and biting. And the red liquid is blood. Mum could remember a time when gators didn't go sweet on anyone. It's true. This was a long time ago, of course. Mum was still a child and the swamp was still quite new. Mum told me in those days, the gators stayed in the swamp. They were perfectly content to slosh in the slime and eat turtles all day. Gators didn't bother us. We didn't bother the gators. Mum said that all changed when Deba, the doctor's daughter, went missing. Search parties were organised. Mum and Granny Selma joined the search. They went to the swamp. Mum said she'd never forget the smell. It made her wretch. And the mud sucked off her shoes. But what Mum remembered the most were the gators. Their eyes glinting in the darkness, watching her. Mr. Persburn died before the ambulance arrived. I told the medics what had happened. Well, I told them best I could. I was still in shock, though I didn't realise it at the time. And one of the medics said to me, "A gator did this, you say?" I said, "That's right." And the medic said, "So where is the gator now?" And I said, "It ran off." And the medic said, "Without attacking you?" I said, "I'm not making this up." A small crowd had gathered by now and they clearly all thought I was making it up too. I said to them, "Look at what's left of Mr. Persburn's legs. Do you think a possum did that?" Mrs. Chan piped up with, "Well, it could have been a mad dog." I said it wasn't a mad dog. Mrs. Northwood said, could be a faulty lawnmower. I hear they're very dangerous. I said, well, where is it then? You think after it killed Mr. Persburn, the lawnmower put itself away in the shed? Mrs. Benega said, well, there's no need for sarcasm. And to be honest, a lawnmower or a dog make more sense to me. A gator's never done anything like this before. I said, just because something has never happened before, Mrs. Benega, doesn't mean it can't happen now. Mrs. Abdullah said, I suppose you can see anything if you're drunk enough. I said, I am a teetotaler, Mrs. Abdullah, as you well know, and I tell you, it was a gator. A gator! And Mrs. Vora said, I think we'll wait for the results of the inquest, thank you very much. And I said, you do that, and when you get the results, I'll expect a written apology from the lot of you. My granny Selma, who I remember faintly, like in a dream, could recollect a time when there was no swamp at all. The whole area where the swamp is, it used to be park. It's true. I've seen photos of it in old album. Trees full of green leaves, green lawns, and there's so many flowers. Far more than in Mr. Persburn's garden. It's a photo of my gran. She must have been 5 or 6, and she's standing by a lake. The water's so clear, so clean looking, and there's a big white bird on it. It was called a swan, and Gran's feeding it, and she's reaching out with a piece of bread, and the swan's long neck is arching forward. I can't imagine living in a world like that. Before the floods, before the swamps, before the next morning, after the gator attack, I decided to pay Taran a visit. He'd no doubt been told about Mr. Persburn's death. News travels fast around here, but he probably hadn't been told the truth about what caused it. I thought I should warn Taran to be extra careful if his gator returned after the first shooting. I was probably being overcautious, but if anything happened to Taran. When I got to his house, his mum, Sherilyn, who I used to work with at the library, she opened the door. She said, if you're after Taran, he's out with his girlfriend. I said, I didn't know Taran had a girlfriend. She said, well, you do now. I said, Sherilyn, will you please tell Taran to be careful if his gator comes back, because she interrupted. The gator won't be coming back. I said, Sherilyn, you know you have to give a gator at least 24 hours before you can be totally sure that... She said, oh, I'm totally sure, all right. It's dead. I said, dead? You mean Taran killed it without the appropriate warnings? She said, no, I killed it without the appropriate warnings. I said, you? But it's totally inappropriate for anyone to kill a gator that's not sweet on them. You know that. I'll tell you what I know. My Taran wants to go to university. He has plans. I didn't want some smelly old gator distracting him from his exams and ruining his chances of... But, Sherilyn, Mr. Persburn was killed by a gator last night. I've heard that silly rumour, yes. I said, it's not a silly rumour. It's the truth. I saw it. And I'll tell you something else. The gator killed Mr. Persburn soon after I heard the gunshots that... Oh, what kind of pathetic fantasy you're cooking up this time, eh? That I killed a gator and another gator at the other end of the bloody street, took revenge on Mr. Persburn. Sherilyn, I don't see why you always have to be so offensive and hostile towards... You're a joke, that's why! A bitter, jealous, twisted joke. What happened this time, eh? You give Taran that pathetic come-on look of yours and he runs in the opposite direction as fast as he can. Just like my husband and every other married man you've ever tried to... Tyres screeching. It's a truck. It's coming down the road. Fast. Too fast. He stops outside the house. A man gets out. I can tell by his girth it's Sherilyn's husband. But he's covered in blood. His clothes are torn. He looks over us and says, Gators. He falls. Sherilyn screams. I run. I run down the high street. More screams. A gator's pulling Mrs. DaCosta out of her car. Run. A gator's attacking Mrs. Chan outside the post office. Run. A gator's attacking Mrs. Beniga. Run. A gator's attacking Mrs. Abdullah. Run. A gator's attacking Mrs. Northwood. Run. A gator's attacking Mrs. Vora. It's eating her. Eating! And there, that gator, it's the one that went sweet on me. It's bigger now. It's much bigger. It's looking at me. It's the... They're outside the house now. Gators. There's more and more of them every day. The police have told us to stay inside while they sort out the situation. But for every gator they kill, another gator kills 10 of them. Gators don't run out of bullets. Of course, the conspiracy theorists are having a field day. Why gators turn sour? Some say, yeah, it's because an unwritten rule was broken as to who can kill a gator and when. Some of the older folk, well, they think it has something to do with Deba, the doctor's daughter that went missing. She was never found. Me? I don't know what to think anymore. But what I do know is this. There are only so many times you can say to another living creature, I do not love you, you mean nothing to me. Only so many times you can ridicule it, shun it, treat it like it has no feelings at all before something inside that creature, something inside their heart. The gator that went sweet on me, it's in the garden. It's been there since it chased me home. It's a 15-footer. It's the biggest gator I've ever seen, so it could smash down the front door if it wanted to. But it stays outside, waiting. I know what he's waiting for. And when I finish this drink, I'm going to give it what it wants. Because in a way, I realise that's what I want too. Huh? Oh, I'm going to go outside, of course. Yeah, I am. No, there's nothing you can say that's going to stop me, so don't try. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to kneel in front of the gator. I'm going to open my arms and I'm going to say, I love you. You mean the world to me. You mean the world.